Hey guys, welcome back. This is week 16 at Project Life, and today I'm going to work with a few little bits and pieces from the Citrus Twist store, focusing heavily on yellow here. I felt like when I was printing out my photos, in stark contrast to last week, I had plenty of photos, and to me they all kind of had this really sunshiny, warm vibe to them, and I really want to highlight that with a little bit of yellow. So when I saw that die cut set from Citrus Twist, I immediately was drawn to these yellow daisies. I thought they would be perfect for this week. I'm not really going to use any of the other die cuts. As always, there's like a million in there, so to make things easier on myself, I'm just focusing on those three. And you can see I've already placed them. I've got like a basic journal card from scrapbook.com that I'm going to do my type to journaling on. And the only other papers I'm really using this week are that paper, is it Paper Rose? The dip dyed basic 6x6 papers that I've used a couple of times before, I think, but I really love them. There's a yellow and an orange, and so I'm going to use both of those. I've trimmed one down into a 3x4, and I'm going to trim out this 4x6 for my title card. I did use the sort of the lighter end of it because they're dip dyed, so one end is more saturated with color than the other, so I have used the end that's a little bit lighter so that it contrasts with these yellow flowers. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere these down straight away. I'm just going to straight away start working on my title card, and then I'm going to balance out the rest of the page from here, because this is going to be a very yellow heavy title card. So I've adhered each of them down, one on each corner, sort of opposing diagonals to each other. They overhang the edge of the card, and I've just trimmed off the rest of the die cuts. And then I'm going to very simply spell out week 16 using these black puffy foam alphas. They're not puffy foam, are they? They're either puffy stickers or they're foam. These ones are foam. I'm using black as a really strong contrast to that yellow, but also because there's a bit of black in the rest of my photos, so I want that to kind of work together. Now I'm using those digital printable labels again, my little jar there, like I said. Very handy having that on my desk to pull out for things like this. And this is where I'm going to start adding some additional colors. And so I'm going to do that in my embellishing and stamping as well. But for this title card, I wanted to add a little bit of blue in here just to contrast really nicely with that yellow. But that's it. As far as the title card goes, couldn't be simpler. It really is that easy. Now I'm going to go ahead and really minimally embellish the rest of the page. I have pulled aside my journaling card, the actual journaling I'm going to do. I'll sort that out in just a minute. The rest of this spread I'm going to work on first. So this 3x4 card, I just adhered my little photo down. And again, this is one of those like nighttime photos, and this is going to happen more and more often as we go through these winter months. It's a poorly lit photo. I've changed it to black and white just to make it more bearable on my eyes. And I've just used a stamp from the stamp set. This is not the only stamp set I've got that's named and it's a very hard one to have to say the name of, to be fair. It's more a noise than a word, and is perfectly descriptive of how it feels. So I don't want to use that stamp set in just that way though, much like I always do. And so I'm going to alter a few of those to fit me. That first one there by the 3x4 card though, it was quite a long sentiment. It wasn't going to fit on the 3 inches. So I did just cut that with my scissors so that I could split it onto 2 lines. And then I added a sticker from this cardstock phrase sticker pack. And I'm going to do that a lot. I'm going to add quite a few of those because I feel like it's a really easy way to add a bit of extra color into this spread and kind of stop it from being too yellow. Now another sort of thing I've done with this photo is I've stamped directly on top of there. I've used 2 different inks though. It's kind of that grayish background that means that I can stamp in both black and white. Instead of picking one or the other, I've used both. So I stamped the in white, and then I stamped a tiny little phrase underneath there in black. Now I decided to stamp my own card for this 4x6, so I added my pizza photo, and the stamp says a stress induced, so it was a stressful week. We treated ourselves to pizza. My initial thought was that I was going to do a kind of ombre effect, but I should have tested my stamp colors first, because the ink stamps, the color of the ink is very different to the color on the label. So I picked my ombre based on the label color, and so it's no longer ombre, it's just a bunch of yellow stamps. But I kind of like how it works. I purposefully put them on that side, obviously, so they're pointing towards the pizza. The rest of the card I'm going to leave white, so that it just has a little bit of white space to it, allows the eye to breathe a little bit, so to speak. The rest of those photos can be quite busy. Now for my actual journaling card, I have just laid out where my flower is going to go and drawn a really light pencil line, just really roughly around the outside. Doesn't have to be super detailed. And then I'm going to use a couple of those sentiment stamps, one top and bottom. I just feel like it's better to do that before I do the journaling, so then at least I know where everything goes and I'm not going to run out of space. All I need to do is type it out, which I did in pink, again, to add a little bit more color, and then I can adhere that flower down. I just erased the pencil line first, and it's the same thing. I'm putting it off the edge of the card and then trimming the outside of it, and I can move on to my next photo. So I'm going to work on this 4x6 photo. There's a cardstock sticker I want to use, but I also want to stamp a sentiment on here. This photo has a lot of kind of, I'll call it white space. It's more kind of blank space. It's really a space that I can stamp in, and I do like to do that. But this is not one of those like bad day photos, and so I want to just alter this sentiment a little bit. So the words on here are like not and bad and and I'm really simply going to change that to not bad, simply by masking out that exclamation mark. So I did use a little bit of washi tape this time. I didn't want to risk just inking it up without masking it first, but you can see how that just like simple change, just not putting an exclamation mark in there, completely changes that sentiment. So from a bad day to a really good day. So very, very simple change, and I love being able to repeat that kind of font on there. So I've got the down the bottom and the not bad at the top, and I just really enjoy that contrast. Now I've got one photo left from my Patreon live stream, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to embellish it or not, because it is quite a busy photo, but it seemed odd to me that it was the only one on there that didn't have some sort of embellishment on there. So I'm going to just make my own little sentiment strip. The black ones were obviously not going to stand out, and I want to kind of stack a couple. There was a stamp on here that says, "I need this," and I really did. So I'm going to use that, but I need to alter it just a little bit, because where I want to place this word strip is on the kind of wrong side for where the arrow on this word is. So I'm just doing a little bit of sort of partial inking. I inked up the sentiment and stamped that down first, and then I flipped the stamp upside down and stamped the arrow on the other side. So that was, again, another simple change, just to make that stamp actually work for me and my photo. I'm going to stack another little cardstock sticker on top of there, because I can't help it. Got to add some pink in there. And then I can call this layout all done as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will leave any links I can down in the description box for you. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen for you. Otherwise, I'll see you again really soon. Bye, guys.